Greetings all, this is Precious, the new Jamaican, and welcome to my channel. So I wanted to come on and give you an update as to where we are right now. On my last video, I told you this whole gory story of our purchase for our vehicle. The only thing that we needed to do after that, we got the title and all that jazz, we got insurance, but we needed to get an updated fitness certificate. The fitness certificate that we did have when we purchased the car is still valid, but it is soon going to expire. So the thing that you would need to do is to go on to the Jamaica Tax website, which is taj.gov.jm, and go to their e-services section. And that's somewhere on midway the page, and I believe on the right somewhere, you're going to click like other services. That is where you will pay your fitness certificate. And the amount that you pay is determined by the type of vehicle you have, whether it's a personal vehicle, whether it's a commercial vehicle, and I believe the size of the engine. For us, of course, we have a personal vehicle. I forget the size of our engine, but we had to pay 4,500 Jamaican dollars, which is about the much you will pay for one of those 5 liter gallons of water. I don't know why I just did that, but for one of those 5 liter gallons of 5 liter gallons, 5 liters of water that you can get at any store. So it's not really that expensive. We will then have to go to a specified mechanic who will then check out the vehicle. First, check that we have indeed paid for it, and check out the vehicle. When we get his or her report, we then take that to the tax office and show them the receipts, show them the report from the mechanic, and then we would get our certificate. I will let you know how that process goes. It should be smooth sailing. If there's anything special, I'll let you know either way. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and you can tell from the thumbnail, I do finally have my certificate for citizenship. It it really wasn't. It didn't take as long as I sort of expected it was going to take. What happened? Just as a recap, I gone to the pica office on Waterloo Road. And that office deals with matters with relation to immigration and citizenship. Their other office on Constant Spring Road deals with passport matters only. So I went to the office there to get a marriage exemption so that I can stay in the country, wouldn't have to be going back and forth. And as you know, I did not get the marriage certificate because I did not have my original documents of my birth certificate and my marriage certificate because we inadvertently shipped those things. And no, we do not have our container yet. We'll talk about that later. But at any rate, as it turns out, my citizenship application had been approved and I didn't need to do the marriage exemption, but they had sent my certificate to Chicago. I then had to write a little letter. It was like a form letter that they had given me. I just wrote why I needed the certificate that was sent to Chicago to come back to the office here in Jamaica. And I would say in less than 2 weeks, I received an email from the supervisor there, over there at Pica, that my certificate was there in the office and I could come and pick it up whenever I want, which is exactly what I did. What I realized that I've never shared is how I went about applying for citizenship. Now there are so again, you're going to go to pica, which is pica.gov.jm. You're going to go to that website, and they have all the citizenship section, all of the different applications that they have now. They have, I'm looking down, because I don't remember it off the top of my head. They have just a regular application for citizenship, and it's called Registration as Citizenship of Jamaica. Then they have the same application if you are under 21 years of age. Then they have the certificate um, for application for citizenship for those who are of Jamaican descent. And then there is the application which I applied for, which is the registration of citizenship of a woman by marriage. And then I paused because I just thought that was a little funny, the way it was named. And I also expected to see one for citizenship by a man by marriage. It doesn't exist. I don't know. I don't know why that is. I don't know what that's about. Then there's another application, and that's for restoration of citizenship. I bring that up because those of you who are of Jamaican descent who left Jamaica when you were a child, don't get confused and think you need to fill out the restoration of Jamaican citizenship. You still are a Jamaican national. You don't need to register for citizenship. You are a citizen. All you need is an updated passport. You need a new passport. None of this applies to you. This is only for non-Jamaican nationals who are going to be applying for citizenship. I say that only because I've gotten some questions about, oh, how do I apply for citizenship? I'm of Jamaican descent and I left when I was a child. You still are Jamaican, so you don't need to apply for citizenship. So that restoration application is for those who have at one point renounced their Jamaican citizenship. I don't know why anybody is doing that, but that's what that's for. If you once renounced your Jamaican citizenship and now you want your Jamaican citizenship restored. So that's what that's for. But of course, I applied for Jamaican citizenship by marriage. Now, this was almost 4 years ago. As I know, as I told you, it took about 3 years and 7 months for me to actually get approved for my Jamaican citizenship. So I applied for, I just pulled the application offline and completed it. I had to provide certain, and with all of the applications, you would have to provide certain documentations to go along with your application. I had to provide along with the application, my birth certificate, Raymond's birth certificate, our marriage certificate. I had to provide them with copies of pay stubs. I want to say it was about a month's worth of pay stubs that I had to provide for them, for me, as well as for Raymond. I had to also provide them with a background check. I had to go to the police station in Chicago and pay for a background check. I don't remember how much it cost, 25, $50, something like that. They do a background check and they mail that to you. I had to provide them with that. I then had to provide them with copies of bank statements, the full bank statement, not just the first sheet. They want to make sure you have some money. So I then also had to provide them with a copy of my passport and both Raymond's Jamaican passport and his U.S. passport, along with the fee. The fee for the application by marriage is was and still is 260 US dollars. The application, like just for a regular application, I think is about the same. If you are of descent, Jamaican descent, it's just about it's 100 US dollars. If you are a citizen of one of the British Commonwealth, it's again 100 US dollars. For a minor, I think it's 100 US dollars. And for that restoration thing, is $1,000. It's $1,000 to renounce your citizenship, you have to pay. And it is $1,000 to get it restored. Again, that's not going to apply to most people because I don't know who's doing that anyway. But yeah, so again, $260 if you are applying by marriage. That's the most expensive one. There is another one. No, I take that back. So if you are, that's not the most expensive one. If you are applying for Jamaican citizenship, not by marriage, you are not a descendant of Jamaica, and you are not a citizen of one of the British Commonwealth, then it's about $345. And I'm talking US dollars, give or take. It's about $345, so to speak, something like that. So after I got all of my application together and all of my documentation, this application and the documentation must be done in duplicate. Now, you can go to the PICA office yourself, gather all of your documents, and go to the PICA office yourself and submit your application. If you do that, remember you cannot give them copies. Yes, you're doing it in duplicate, so one of them is going to be copies, or maybe you're going to give them two copies, but you're going to bring along your original marriage license, your original birth certificates. You can't give them copies. They don't want your copies. They're going to send you away. I didn't do that. I went to the Jamaica Consulate's office in Chicago. The Jamaica consulate, I called them, set up an appointment, told them what I needed to do. So Raymond and I, because both you and your spouse will need to go to the consulate's office or the embassy or wherever you're going to submit your application. And we presented everything to him, the application and all of the supporting documentation. He then had to stamp, read, and stamp and sign each and every page. So, for example, when I gave him a bank statement, um, he didn't just stamp, oh, this is the first page of that bank statement. He looked at every single page, stamped and initialed every single page. And that's one of the reasons why I think I didn't necessarily, maybe I was supposed to, but I didn't necessarily have to give the Jamaican consulate my original birth certificate, because I didn't do that. I gave him copies of everything because he's then reviewing it. He's looking at it. He's interviewing us. He's talking to us. So he could make the determination, and the Jamaican PICA office, it respects his opinion that this is legitimate. At any rate, he stamped everything, returned everything to me. He didn't send it off. The way they were talking in the office, at one point when I had to go back to them, and was checking status of everything, the way they were talking, it appears that sometimes the Jamaican consulate will send that stuff to Pika himself. But I didn't do that. He gave me everything back, and then I Federal Express, no, I didn't. I sent it express USPS mail. Yeah, I remember that. But you can overnight it, or you can just regular mail it. I sent via express mail the application, the supporting documentation, and the check, or the international money order. You cannot do a check. It has to be an international money order. Where you're going to get an international money order is the U.S. Post Office. That's where you're going to go. In the UK, I'm assuming the post office there, but you know how you can go to currency exchange, or we call them currency exchanges in Chicago, or those check cashing places where you can get a money order? No. Even at your bank? No. It has to be an international money order if you're going to do that. Um, so I sent all of that in duplicate along with the check to Pika and sat and waited. So I would call on occasion to check the status. You were with me on one of those calls where I made several calls to several agencies, and of course that was just it's not processed yet, or it's not completed yet, so forth and so on. The first call that I made, though, I don't know why I was initially nervous about calling. I had this fear that some kind of way it got lost in the mail, and I didn't even want to hear the fact that they didn't have it. But at any rate, I called them, and they were like, "Oh, we tried to reach out to you. We There was something you were missing," and I was like, "What? I didn't get an email from you." Actually, they said they emailed. I'm like, there is not even a place on there on the application for an email, unlike the TRN application. There wasn't. So I'm like, you didn't email me, so I have no idea what you're talking about. But at any rate, there's a part in the application that I misunderstood. I misread it, where you have to sign like the allegiance to the Queen or something like that. For whatever reason, I thought that was for people who were part of the Commonwealth. So I didn't sign that part. So that's the problem that they had with my application. I then at that point tried to get in contact with the consulates so that I can basically do that whole process again. They didn't need all the supporting documentation again. They just needed me with a new application. They again asked for two passport photos. That was the other thing. You have to send two passport photos as well, along with all your other supporting documentation. So they asked for another set of passport photos. They asked for my marriage license again, and my birth certificate again, along with a new application signed with that part signed. I could never reach the consulate again. I was never able to reach this man again. I called him several times. After a while, he did call me back, basically asking me not to call him. I'm like, do whatever. So he was like, oh, I got your messages. I'm very busy. And he is. Um, I'll call you when I'm able to. I'm like, you know what, I need this done. So I called Pick-up. I was soon going to be coming to Jamaica for a visit. So I called Pica and asked them if I could just bring what they needed to the office. And they said, sure. And so I did that. I asked them, I said, well, since there was a problem with my application, you your website says the whole process takes about 24 months. Is this going to set me back? Am I basically starting over from this point? They told me, no, 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 it's not setting you back. It does not, that didn't set me back. It does not take 24 months. It takes way longer than 24 months, at least for this type of application. My nieces, I want to say my nieces, my husband's side, they applied for citizenship by descent. And as I recall, it didn't take this long. So I'm thinking that if you are applying for Jamaican citizenship by descent, it may take 24 months. But if you're applying any other way, it's probably going to take longer. And has nothing to do with COVID. This was long before COVID. It took almost 4 years. So COVID ain't been around that long. So um, that's it. It's actually really easy. If you have your documentation, which you will have your marriage license, you will have your birth certificate, you will have your passport, you have bank statements and your checks, pay stubs, and all that. You have that. Submit your application, complete it, read it thoroughly. It's really not that difficult. Complete it and send it on, and just wait. Send your money in. Just wait. They are pretty good, Pika, about about this business. Period. They're serious about this business. They're gonna have the information for you. The only way they're not gonna have something is there's some kind of way they never received it from you. Um, and there shouldn't be any problem. That's why if you're going to mail it, I would suggest not mailing it regular mail. Do some kind of way that you can actually track it, or bring it to the PICO office personally yourself. One thing about the PICO office I wanted to mention is that, you know, they don't want you waiting in their office. When Raymond and I went for the marriage exemption, because we both had business that we were both able to go inside. But when I went to pick up my certificate, Raymond didn't have any business there. So they were like, you're going to have to wait outside. But they tried to be very courteous. They try to, they don't want you having to wait around for hours like you would have to do at a bank. This lost experience, well, let me say this. They're going to give you whatever papers you came, like say if you're coming there for a marriage exemption, they're going to give you the documentation you need, and they'll also give you a little slip of paper to basically ask you how your experience was at the PICO office. Were the people courteous? Did you have a long wait? Such so forth and so on. And there's a little suggestion box there, and you can stick that in the box. So it looks like they are trying to give good customer service. When I went this last time, there were a few people there already because we made a couple of other stops while we were in Kingston. There were a few people there already. I got my little ticket because you're going to get a little ticket everywhere you go in Jamaica right now, particularly right now. And after a while, the people were in there working, and there's the immigration side and the citizenship side. It was only one person working on the citizenship side, and she was dealing with someone. And then there were these other folks working, but they weren't necessarily dealing with individuals. They were, doing paperwork and stamping things and so forth and so on. The receptionist got up and said, "We have four people waiting for citizenship. They've been waiting." Those people, I wouldn't say they dropped what they did, but they hurried up and finished their paperwork. And immediately they started calling the next for citizenship, next for citizenship. Can you imagine something like that? If that happened at a bank, oh, we have four people waiting, as opposed to we have 104 people waiting. It wouldn't happen. I wish every office had worked like this. I'll find out how it's going to work at the passport office. I'm hoping it's the same great customer service, but we will see. It has gotten so sunny, I can barely see. I hope you can see me. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a little better. But at any rate, yeah, so that was it. It took almost 4 years, but I do have it. I'm ecstatic. I can do anything any other Jamaican citizen can do. I can vote in elections if I want. I can go and get a job if I want. I can go to any get INS, which is the National Insurance Scheme, something like that. I can get an INS card, which I'm going to do probably next week sometime. And yeah, so I'm ecstatic. Now all I have to do is get my passport, which I've already, I have the application filled out. Um, Before I go into any more detail about that, I want to actually have the process done so that I can give you a full detail as to what you need to do and what to expect and how that whole process went. So I'll come back at a later date and talk to you about that. Well, that is actually all I have for you today on our update with the fitness certificate for the vehicle and my Jamaican citizenship. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. If you've not done so, go back and give my other videos a watch, a like, a comment, and share them as well. Signing off for now. Love, joy, and health to you until we meet again. Stay conscious and stay connected. Peace.